Hi there, I'm Lou.
Hi, I'm John.
If you've just joined this week, usual spiel that everyone else knows, that we just do this from our kitchen. It's called Heart to Heart. You will quickly spot that we don't script any of it because we just wanted to come across as ourselves.
Yes.
Well, the biggest crisis we're in at the moment is that our hairdresser has still not visited us.
Well, yeah.
You still have to excuse us, we're looking more and more unkempt every time we do a video.
Yes.
But we press on.
I personally am really quite chuffed I've actually got hair at the moment, you know. Usually I haven't done, but unfortunately it's all in the wrong places. But never mind.
Okay, so I'm sorry we haven't actually done videos for Bottled Up for a few weeks.
No, we've been really busy on the other website, which we talked about already in the previous video, which is Beauty for Ashes.
Yeah.
And we were really pushing to get that one all sort of finished and launched, which we did last week. So we're back talking to you again.
Yeah, actually, just we thought we'd just say a couple of snippets about what it's kind of about. And we might have just do that here. I think one thing we would like to say is that you'll see if you come over to Beauty for Ashes that we veer away very instinctively from what I call right-wing Christianity. And if you are not turning up because you just think it'll make you worse than you ever did before, because there is this kind of connection in some people's mind between guilt and shame and God. Actually, if you really understand Christianity, it's one of the best news about God, because actually he removes the guilt and shame from us, so it's actually really, really good news. But we promise you, if you come over, it is much more like a warm bath than it is a scratchy kind of scrubbing brush.
There's plenty of guilt and shame around with alcohol, so we didn't want to give you a second dose of it. Anyway, we're just not into that. It's not our scene. You know, we would never be into Christianity ourselves if that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, actually, I think you would say that one of the best news about Christianity was that actually your burden of shame and guilt was lifted, and that was one of the best things.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't go near it because of it was full of narrow-minded bigots. That's that I wouldn't touch Christianity, and then I had to realise that the narrow-minded bigot was actually me. I thought, oops, never mind. Okay.
Anyway, so we kind of want you to check it out, but also we want you to feel free not to check it out. Yeah. But and you'll see when you come to the website, what we're always fighting against is people think they know what we're offering, and I think you'll find that it's very different to what you think we're offering, because we're therapists and we want to offer you something that's going to make your life better, not make you feel worse.
Correct.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we said, we're back talking to you.
Yep.
So the topic of this particular video is what?
It's choices. Now, we've been looking at lockdown, and I made this observation, we've just been on a walk to John, is that when our government was being quite authoritative about lockdown and staying in, it was really clear what we had to do, and everybody basically behaved. But we're now going through a situation where we're being given different options, and people are now being more and more free to exercise choice. Yeah. And what you're seeing is that there's a great range of people that are maturely choosing, and in my opinion, mature choice is remembering you're sharing the planet with somebody, there's people around you, so you need to choose not just for you, for them, and you get really mature choice to people that clearly are not thinking about anybody but themselves and the fact that they're free again, and everything in between.
I love the Scandinavian message, which is, I protect you, you protect me.
Yeah, it's a great message.
And I think that really sums it up. I'm not sure that our government was being authoritarian. I think it was just being clear. Yeah. But now there isn't that clarity.
Yeah, that's true.
And because there isn't that clarity, then people don't really know what to do. And I noticed even today there were people who kind of avoided us. And there were others who would just have walked right over the top of us, So that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so that took us quite kind of naturally onto the whole thing about choices, and it's a real hot topic, isn't it, in kind of the drink situation. So,
I mean, I think I think that's one of the things we try to offer you in Bottled Up is choices. You know, because if you don't choose freely what you want to do, then why would you stick to it? You know. I think when I came to give up drinking, I felt that I had two choices, or as they say in the UK, Hobson's choice, which means not a real choice at all. You know, I could either continue to drink and die, or I could stop drinking. You know, and I have to say neither of them were particularly palatable. You know, these weren't choices that I particularly wanted, but that's the way I saw it. You know. But part of the reason I saw that was because I didn't see was there life beyond alcohol? You know, all the things that people say to me, well, what will I do when I stop drinking? You know, what will my life be like? How will I do this? How will I do that? How will I go to parties? Can I, do you know what I mean? And that's the way we saw it. And one of the things we're trying to offer people is to say, actually, no. What do you want your life to be like? You know? What do you want to do with your life? Because I used to sit in pubs and I would drink and I would say, tomorrow I'm going to sail around the world. Tomorrow I'm going to scuba dive. Tomorrow I'm going to climb mountains. Tomorrow. But it was always tomorrow. Why? Well, I've got a drink in front of me here. I can't give up, you know. It's always tomorrow, tomorrow, you know. And I have to say that since I stopped drinking, I haven't sailed around the world, but I have sailed around the Greek islands. I have scuba dived. I have climbed mountains. I've done all of that stuff, you know. So because there was time, there was a space to do that.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yep.
Okay. What kind of are your main tips, if you like, for changing your choices? I'm talking as a drinker here, and then we'll just quickly talk about families.
Okay, as a drinker. One of the exercises I give to people is to sort of the pros and cons of, you know, what are the good things, bad things about drinking, what are the good things, bad things about not drinking. And one of the things that people find difficult is to write in what are the good things about not drinking, you know? And that's where you can reinvent yourself. You can reinvent yourself. For me, I wanted to go back to education. You know, I always thought that I was better than the qualifications that I had. So that's what I did. I went back to education. Now that was part of helping me to recover. It was helping me to see myself in a different light. And I think many people can do that. You know, most people can do that because. I was talking to somebody the other day and what they were saying was the amount of time it took to be a drinker. Because you've got to go and get the drink, then you've got to go and drink the drink, then you've got to try and hide the empties, then you've got to... And it's a full-time job. Think what you could do with all that time. You know, think of the things you could... You know, people... one person I was talking to wanted to learn another language. Why not? Another person wanted to write. Another person wanted to learn to play piano. It's up to you what you want to do.
So you're saying you're having a vision of the alternative to the life that you've got now. And
absolutely. To say, well, you know, and one of the reasons why I continue to not drink today is because of all the things I might lose. You know?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you had a choice now, how long is it since you drunk? It's over 30 years, isn't it?
36 years.
Yeah. Okay. So, would you choose to drink? Do you think you're free of drink? I mean,
this is a question I get asked quite a lot. You've been off the drink all this time. If you drank today, you would be fine, wouldn't you? I have no idea. I might well be. I could maybe go out and sort of pick up a pint and drink it and walk out of the pub and be fine. I could never do it before, but maybe I could do it now. So why don't I? Well, I have to say two things here. One is, and what would it bring to my life that I don't have? You know? after all this time, I haven't needed a drink all this time. What would it add to my life that I don't have now? Maybe I'd be able to go to parties. I go to parties. Maybe I'd be able to go to nights out. I go to nights out. What is it going to bring me? And that's the one side of it. But the other side is the one that really sort of stops me. And that's, what have I got to lose? I'm not a betting man. I've never been a betting man. You know, I've never been somebody who gambles much at all. But that would be a huge gamble for me, you know. And what I would be doing is I would be putting a whole life, you know, betting against getting a very small, perhaps, benefit, you know, a really sort of arbitrary benefit. Would I bet against that? I could lose my, you know, I could lose my wife here. I could lose my job. Well, I employ myself, so I would probably sack myself anyway. But, you know, I could lose my house because I've done all that before and I've lost all these things before.
So your motivation really, and so the risk would be far, far too high.
The risk is enormous. For what? What would I gain from it?
Can I ask you one more question? Because I know that this is really useful. Now, obviously, now you've chosen so often for the right that that choice now is easy for you. You don't struggle anymore.
Sure.
When you first choose not to drink, and you work, John does, you know, work online with drinkers on a regular basis. There's something, there is almost a, if you hang on, because you told me it, but I can't remember exactly what you said, you know, that you can expect this, but every time you do this, it gets better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because that was really helpful and useful.
If, you know, drink refusal, that's what we kind of call it, drink refusal, you know, that when you get this craving for drink and you decide not to drink, every time you do it, it gets easier.
Okay.
Every time you give in, when it comes back, it's just exactly the same. If you, you know, it's a bit like going to a gym. You know, the first time you lift weights, it's really quite heavy. You know, and as you do it often and often and often, then it gets easier, and then you end up putting more and more weights on. So that you know what I mean? You're building your strength. And when you refuse alcohol, when you fight the craving for alcohol, then it's much the same.
Just like a muscle that you exercise.
Yeah, you are building that muscle, you are building that strength, so that when that craving comes back again, then it's not nearly as strong. But the other thing is that the confidence it builds in you. It builds the confidence that I can do this. And the other thing, of course, is that cravings last for about 15 minutes and then they go away again. And so you have this intense craving for about 15 minutes, and if you can refuse to drink during those 15 minutes, then it will fade again.
So this is why coaching, this is why John does work, well, he works with families of drinkers, but he works with drinkers as well, because having somebody who can really kind of help you with that is really useful. And I just want to talk, because drinkers will be watching this, but also we'll be putting it out to people that aren't, that are living with drinkers.
Yeah, the families.
Yeah. For you've been talking about building choice. I think for us, it's retrieving choice. And when you come to this site, you know, which is usually because you've tried lots of other things and they aren't really working, what you've done is you kept trying to choose the one thing that you couldn't do, was to choose to stop his behaviour. And so you've become more and more helpless, and you feel that there's nothing you can do. And actually, we really refute that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Perhaps just say a little bit here about the second step here, because we do believe. That, well, I suppose we do believe that actually God can help us in that bit where you really feel kind of weak, but we don't believe we're powerless, do we?
No.
There is a difference in that, isn't there?
Yeah. We don't believe that we're powerless. We don't believe that you're powerless, you know, and we refute that. For me, and we're talking about what would happen if I went out and had a drink, you know, and I know what used to happen when I went out and had a drink. I had a choice right up to the moment I picked up a drink. once I picked up the drink, I didn't really have much of a choice. There's an old saying that a man takes a drink, the drink takes a drink, the drink takes the man. And that is the way it tended to happen. For me, I very seldom went out and said, I'm going out to get pissed today. I'm going out to get drunk. I very seldom did that. But I very seldom came out of the pub not drunk. You know, because once I picked up the drink, the choices had gone, you know, my cognitions had been taken over by alcohol. So I had the choice right up to that moment.
And I think we need to say here, if you're new, that we have great respect for the 12-step program. It's why John got sober, and he runs 12-step programs for a long time. And so we're not undermining that in any way. I think as a drinker, to acknowledge your weakness and to know that you need help from, well, I think what they call a higher power, but also from your peers and for people to really be on your journey, it is a weakness that we really do endorse. That is something you do need help with. But I think for me, living with a drinker, I think we've got more power than we have as long as we start in the places we can be empowered. And do get to know the Bottled Up program if you're a partner or a family member, because actually what you might be doing is undermining your power by mistake by actually trying to do the things you can't do, but not doing the things you can do. And that is really, really important. It's just one of the major keys, I think.
One of the things that we've talked about here before, and again, this comes from a 12-step, although they borrowed it from elsewhere, and that's the Serenity Prayer. You know, and the Serenity Prayer, I think, is... I love the Serenity Prayer because it's so profound. It's very simple, but so profound. And that's God grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Now, what happens so often is we try to change things we should be accepting, you know, and we kind of accept things we should actually be changing. And what I believe that Bottled Up does is it kind of tries to help you have the wisdom to know the difference. Because basically what we do for families at the beginning of the program is we say, stop. That's the first bit of the program. Stop doing this. Why? Because it's not effective. It might make you feel a wee bit better for a wee while. And in that respect, it's a wee bit like the drinker. The drinker drinks because it makes them feel better for a wee while, you know, but all of a sudden they need to drink again. And for you, it might feel better screaming at your drinker for a wee while. But it's frustrating because it doesn't work. And that's, you know, so what we say is that, you know, doing these things doesn't work. But doing these things do. And these are the things that you can change. If you have the courage, change them. Unfortunately, most of them are about you, about changing how you react. But the thing is, that changes the atmosphere. It changes the circumstances surrounding drinking. And once the drinker starts to catch on to some of this stuff, then they start to think about it. And once they start to think about it, then change can start to happen.
Yeah, there's kind of a macabre dance that goes on and actually changes the step. Because the drinker is really the leader. But actually, if you change your steps, then you can actually be the leader and they can follow you. And so that's really important. Can I just say, though, if you have doing these things, if you know you shouldn't, but you still do them, do not give yourself a hard time, because much of what you'll be doing in any other context in a loving relationship is really, really powerful.
Absolutely.
You know, my partner who was a drinker, he loved me. In any other situation, if I said, see that's really hurting me, don't do that, he would stop. Of course he would, he loved me. Except for this one, you know, so don't give yourself a hard time because you're behaving, which is actually normal, but in this situation is not helpful. But just learn what is helpful, you know. And I've had to flesh this out over 29 years painfully. So listen and learn, because, you know, we've gone through this so you don't have to.
Normal behaviour is not always effective behaviour. Just because you've always done it, you know, doesn't mean to say it's going to change. There's an old saying, you know, that the definition of madness is to repeat the same thing time after time and expect a different outcome, you know. And there is an aspect of that in here. But the thing is, most of the time you don't know anything different. You know, you don't know that there is an alternative way to do things. And that's what the Bottled Up program's about. Here's an alternative way. Use an alternative.
And keep sharing on the forum. We love it that you're sharing on the forum. It's one of ours. It's
one of our great
yeah,
friends.
we are so proud of the forum. Yeah. Wish you could hear us purring with pride when we read, and where you help each other is just amazing. Can we also thank you for those who've donated to the chain of care? We haven't talked about it much in the COVID situation because we're aware that so many people are struggling. And if you are struggling, then this is not for you, this next bit at all. But the chain of care is just literally based on if you're being helped, would you just give a little bit to make sure that the person like you 6 months down the road gets the same help that you do. £3 is the lowest because it's just not worth it. That's how much it takes to cover all the charges and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, well, by the time that everybody has their cuts, then what's left is just not worth it.
Yeah, so that's the lowest we can go. But one or two people do it regularly. Most people do a one-off. I mean, regular is nice, but so whatever you feel you can give, it all goes back into you. We don't take a wage from this. This is free. We do not go on holidays with what you give. What you give helps somebody like you get help, and it's as simple as that, really.
Simple.
Yeah, simple. And of course, John, he does therapy. We've had a special deal at the moment, again, for people that are really struggling. You can decide which one you want.
Yeah, if you want to talk to me, or you want help, if you want me to sort of help you make a plan for going forward, whether it's about changing your drinking or about whether you live with a drinker, then make an appointment. I'm always happy to talk to people.
I mean, John does that side because I've got my own counselling practice. From time to time, he might refer people over to me, but generally I've got quite enough. Not quite enough, I don't mean that, quite a lot of my own that I look forward to. But he's really good, he's well worth having. People find him really helpful.
Really good.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's probably about it, isn't it now?
I think so.
I think they say stay safe, don't they? That's what they say in our country.
Stay well, stay safe.
Yeah. And remember, you matter. What you're going through matters very, very greatly. Remember, if you want to get some spiritual help, trundle across to Beauty for Ashes. Would you just ask for telling you a little bit more about how that's really impacted us? Just get on the forum. Don't suffer alone, because that's what the forum is for, to talk. And we'll be back again soon. We try to check in most weeks, don't we?
We do.
With one of these. Okay.
So.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening. Bye.